Welcome back, everybody. Today, I don't know why my coffee cup is sitting here. We're going to be talking about pulse laser levels. Not just a laser level, crosshair laser level, but a pulse crosshair laser level. You guys are going to be just as shocked as I was when I found out and learned more about this. Because today we can use these things on smaller projects to work just the same as a transit. Now, many of you out there that are familiar with transits understand how they work, going, no, you cannot use them as a transit. Yeah, I get it. Okay, it's not a true transit, but very much like a transit. You got a stick, you got a receiver, you can read the beam. We can determine elevations, we can determine what the grade is. So we can do a lot of the things that a true transit can do. And that's the stuff we're going to talk about. Now, we have a variety of one sitting here from my all-time favorite that I've had for, oh my goodness gracious, beginning of time, my old Hilti, to the old red, old school laser, crosshair laser level that's never failed me. I still use today. We're going to go across the differences on these. We're going to go across what their abilities are, what the accuracies are. Are they worth your time and day? Should you get one? And that's the stuff we're going to cover right now. So let's do this thing.
Welcome to Let's DIY My Home, where like-minded people are working together to tackle their project. Everything from a complicated remodel to as simple as repairing a door. That's letsdiyMyHome.com. We'll see you there.
Welcome back, everybody. Okay, here we go. We're going to talk about the accuracy on these things, because you guys are going to be just as shocked as I am, and then we're going to talk about and show actually how to use these to set grade, and we're going to talk about setting grade and maybe even preventing water from coming in a basement. If you guys have basement crawl spaces and have water penetrating into the home from the walls, tell me down below. If we have enough people that do that, I'll make a video on stopping that issue. I will explain it to you a little bit what you need to do, but if we have enough, I will actually go and do it to the house outside here, to my office. Now, accuracy. What you're seeing here right now is me setting the baseline. That's that little rotary laser light you see flashing right here. That is this Hilti right behind me here. Okay? I set that as my baseline. So then what I actually did is I set the other two green lines that you see there. Whatever the distance is from the rotary laser, I didn't care because I'm using the rotary laser as my baseline. And I measured from that line to the green line, the center point of the green line. The fatter of the two, believe it or not, is that Johnson. That real skinny line, which I like a lot, is this Huepar. So right here is 10 feet, a little over 10 feet, 10'6", somewhere in that vicinity. It was close enough for this test to check the accuracy of the line right there. Then what I actually did is I shot all the way over to the other end of the pole barn. That's 36 feet away. Right there, the Johnson that you see going on was dead on. It was an identical match to the Hilti. I turned around, went back, again, measured the real skinny one you see there, which happens to be this Huepar, shot all the way down to the other end of the barn again at 36 feet, measured it again. If it's off, honestly, it's not any more than probably a 32nd. It is that close. I want to call it dead on, okay? I really do. But come on, let's face it. Put this on here. Incidentally, this is a selfie stick. I'll put a link down below because if you're going to do a transit, that's really going to take care of 90% of what you need to do outside. I got to be honest, for a $400 Johnson compared to a $130, $140 Huepar, weight-wise, they're very similar. Build quality is very, very similar. The one thing that this Huepar has that the Johnson does not have is the ability to do a rotary laser. Now I have this thing facing the front, and you can see right there, it's facing you, but yet you can see behind the camera, it's hitting back here, it is hitting me. When we come to this Johnson, these, by the way, are the only two worthwhile laser levels that I found on the market. There is the Johnson. The Johnson is a tad bit brighter than the Huepar. I am going to spin, let's see if you can see it. I am going to move this to the edge of the table. It's facing you. You can see the line back here. I have to take this one and spin it around for you to see the back. But what I want you to see, the Johnson line is down here on this box. The Huepar line is up top. The Johnson line is definitely brighter than the Huepar. I don't know what difference these two make to you, but when I stick them out 8-10 feet apart, I'll tell you right now that Huepar is a finer line than what the Johnson is, and that is a big deal when you really want to be accurate on your vertical lines, especially if you're shooting a line for maybe you're doing tile from the floor to the ceiling. There's your dead line. We can use a 6-foot level, but I got news for you. The time we move it up there, we can be off of here. These things are not off. These things are more accurate than me using this level that I have back here. You see me tiling with them, you know. Let's fire up Big Boy back here. It takes him a minute, and you'll see him rotating around. It's amazing what these two things can do. As far as receivers go, the Johnson receiver was $130-something right here. Supposed to be professional. There's the beacon. So that was the line that we used in the shed right here that you see flashing when we went and measured from one end to the other end of the building to check for accuracy, and found out, honestly, if it wasn't for the cost, if this thing would have been, let's say, $400, the same as the Johnson, I would have said this thing was 100% accurate. But because it's not a Johnson, it's not a Bosch, it's not a Hilti, I kind of find it hard to say it's 100% accurate when in fact it looks to be that way. If it, like I said, if it's off at all, it's going to be a 32nd, maybe a 1/16 of an inch on 36 feet. That is acceptable. If you read my contracts, when we build homes, it says the foundation must be within 1/8 of an inch or it has to be replaced. And I do that to keep the concrete guys accountable. Talking about using these things as a transit. Don't even start with me on the transit thing. Talk about using these things as a transit. When I go to use them as a transit, shut up, Johnson. Let's stick this on here real quick. I'm going to be wrapped up with you guys real quick here. Everybody should have one of these things. Not because you may necessarily need to use it for a transit, but they're more versatile than just that. So I got the one there. I'm going to set this one up here. Let's put there. There we go. The thing I want you guys to be aware of here. Watch this. We're going to fire up the Johnson receiver. Incidentally, the Johnson receiver is going back. We don't hear nothing. Turn up the volume as long as I go. It does squat. Oh, now you... Now, here's funny. You hear it going off? You see where the beam is? Oh my God, I wish I could flip this around. Oh, you know what it's reading? No way. Turn this off. We just found the problem. I've used this thing. The sales rep gave me this one for $130. It did not work with any one of these two pulse units. I took the Johnson back, got another one. Still did not work with this. I was sold the wrong thing. Because guess what? We got the rotary laser running, and I'm wondering what's causing this thing to... There it is. This is set up for red beam pulsing. This will work for. If this pulsed, it would work for that. So this has to go back. It's the wrong product. So we have them for red beams, and then obviously we have them for green beams. Because if we turn this one back on, here, we don't get squat, no beeping. Turn it off. I don't have to turn it off, but we will. We're going to turn this one back on. You don't hear beeping yet, do you? This is right now is just being used as a horizontal and a level line, like any other laser level. Here's where they change. If we go to the Huepar, put it into pulse mode, there is a button that you push. It just flashed. You saw that? It told me it's in pulse mode now. Watch this. It works. So I can literally take, and I can go all the way around me. So if I've got a building, let's say maybe I'm putting up a 28 by 28 garage, I can set this thing in the center. And I could set grade. I could set the block work all the way around. So all I have to do, now this is a high spot. Maybe I want the rest of this to be equal to this. How do we get there? How do we know we're doing it? That's the benefit to this, is we can take this, run stakes into the ground. They're called survey sticks. Your big box store has them. They're like this. We take this, we go to the low spot, we pound it into the ground, and we keep pounding it until we get to where we can set this on top of that stick and it buzzes. Now, incidentally, let's just say you have a water issue along the side of your house. Water is coming in the basement. Would you believe you can use this to help fix that issue? What I mean by that, if we need to grade this uphill, and maybe we don't want it really visible, so we're not going to go 4 feet away, add on 3 feet of dirt, because then we end up with a massive embankment. Okay? But what we can do is maybe we only want to do grade at 2 inches per foot. So if we're going to go 4 feet away, that's 8 inches. That's a real gradual grade. What I would do then is turn around, set my grade, make sure I've got a good terrain, so when the water comes away from the house, I want to make sure that it's graded away. So if I am in town and I got 2 houses next to each other, go to the middle line, in the middle of the property line. Grade yourself in. Don't be rude and run everything to your neighbor's house, okay? Maybe you don't like them, maybe you want to do that. But typically, we want to use something like this, is we know what we need to do against the house, but what about from where that 4 foot away from the house is out to the street, or maybe out to the backyard? Are we trying to push water uphill? Do we need to remove water or move some dirt to get the grade to slope down enough that the water runs to the back and then out of here? Now, obviously, if your whole backyard goes uphill, there's only one way to run the water, and it better be headed towards the street, okay? Otherwise, you're going to make a lake somewhere, and when it bursts, you're not going to be happy. But we can still pick the grade there, then decide what we need to do. Maybe we need to go and have drain tile put in right along that whole edge of the house, because you can't drop the grade any lower, but we need to control it. And these are the tools that you would use to do that, to determine what's the best way to resolve the water issue if it's coming in the foundation. Okay? What else can we do with these things? We can use them to build blocking. Okay, maybe you want to lay block out around the foundation. Here I'm actually building a pole barn. And I'm using all 3 of these just for testing purposes. And I got to be honest with you, I ended up using the Huepar more than any of them. Why? The rotary laser. I got it in front, I got it in back. I added on a 18 by 36 foot addition, made it just glorified lean-to at half a pole barn, okay? Now, the other benefit to something like this is we can use it to frame walls from one wall to another, but this other angle here, I'm not positive exactly what that is. So I can actually use this tool that way, like you see me doing here, shooting across the floor. Now I can measure from that angle point to the wall. That's my long point. I already set my degrees. We're doing all these miters at 30 degrees. So that's easy. But I need to be accurate on my length so my 2 points will line up. That's the 30 degrees that you see going on right here. That's you see me measuring over. Incidentally, here's a little tech tip real quick. Because there's a new stud finder out, and I'm going to do a test on it here when we get back from down south for the winter. This, which is full of gravel and sand, because I used it down in the pole barn, is a magnet. Sticks to the sheetrock, right? Sticks to my wood, I mean. Yeah, let's just keep screwing that up. I'm not going to take that out. But there's screws where these boards are. What if this was sheetrock and I couldn't see those? Would you believe I can take this really strong magnet, roll it along the ceiling if I wasn't positive where the joists were at, and I could find the nails and the screws. This would stick to it. That is your joist. That is your ceiling. That is your walls. Magnets are a score. I love them. I prefer them over a stud finder. Here you see me using the Johnson right here at my daughter's. I actually have this thing, as you can see, anchored to her fridge. Here, I'm actually taking this thing, this Johnson, and shooting it down the wall, and we're setting the elevation for the tile. What is flashing? Turn that off. I think you guys get your point. That can be done with this. These all have magnet stands here. If you don't have anything to stick this thing through, there is a slot on the back. Every one of these brackets, including the one for the Huepar, which incidentally has shocked the living heck out of me. And originally, I was going to send it back. But because of the rechargeable battery, I like it better than this one. It has more options, which we're going to talk about over this. This too has magnets on the back. So if you have a refrigerator, for the Huepar will stick on the refrigerator, and you can do the exact same thing you see me doing right here. Laying out the tile. And basically what we did, in simple ways to do this, is all you have to do, if you're going to go tile your own backsplash, that is the simplest thing to do. And for layout purposes, all you have to do is take the little spacers, you decide how big of a gap you want for a grout line, set that at your bottom, stack a tile, put the spacer in, stack the tile till you get to the top. Maybe you got 4 inches and you got whatever, 8 courses of tile. Or you can do as I did. I didn't care about the 4 inches because it's up under the cabinet. Nobody's going to really see it, and that's what you see here. See, this looks beautiful. I don't get that anal where people worry about how tiles line up by the door in a bathroom, like you see here. I am more concerned about the wall away from the toilet being dead straight with a full tile along there and a full tile along my doorway. That's more important to me than me ending up with a half a tile on the other end of the bathroom. Again, using these things, measuring things out, laying tile out, using spacers, without sitting doing simple math. These are the way I learned in my younger years. I did not go and take a tape measure, measure it all out, add on a 1/4 inch to each tile, divide that all out, figure out where my starting... That made my head hurt. Just made my head hurt. But by me just taking a simple tile, stacking it, putting a spacer, stacking it, putting a spacer, like I was doing right there that you did not see, I can decide where I want my tile to start and where my tile ends. Now, let's talk about features real quick and get this video to an end. There we go. Get to the right spot. I took this tape off of here. The big thing. We got 3 sitting right here in front of me. Old school, Bosch. Can't go wrong with the Bosch. Never could. You could still buy new ones. I think the replacement to this is the GL50, I think is the replacement to this thing. I think they have that available in red and green. Now they have them where they do red and green. So personal preference. I bought the green one because everybody says you need green. So I wanted to see what the big deal was. I went and got the green one just because I was doing my daughter's tile. Do I like it? Honestly, I do. On the top here, what we have on this Johnson, right now, it's flashing. That means I turned it on with the plenum locked. I can still shoot a line, but because the plenum is locked, it now allows me to shoot a line at an angle, up a staircase like you see me doing here. Okay? We can use these things, unlock it. You'll notice your flashing light stops. And we can turn on horizontal lines, put them back on to something like this if we're trying to do, and you know, I really should have did this before releasing the plenum in here, or whatever the gyro thingy in there is. Okay, all I know is how to use the thing. I don't remember what they're all called. Oops, there goes your mouse, Steve. Beep that. Okay, so you can put them on a little tripod like this, or a selfie stick. And I can go right up along the floor, right to the top, and take it out of screen, bring it back down, put it in screen. Hey, you want to see a better picture? There you go. But what you don't notice is there's no beam on top, no beam around the perimeter. Shut up. I know you're not level. And right now I don't care. So this can be used as a crosshair for setting tiles and doing those type of things. And most of these things are all made overseas anyway. Like the Johnson, the Huepar, has a cross arrow line. The only difference is the horizontal line makes a complete circle around the whole entire room. Johnson can't do that. This one actually has a plim bob doohickey. Let me see if I can get it in there to you. We're going to find you. Oh, you guys should start seeing it. There she goes in your eyeballs. That puts a dot right on the ceiling. On the top, let's move this, switch cameras. I think you're going to see it on the table. Well, there's a dot right there. And a dot on the ceiling, which you saw me put in the middle of the camera. Okay? Now, benefit to that is we could actually go and decide maybe I want to hang a light over the middle of my dining room table. So I could figure out exactly where I want that light to be on my center point of my table, mark the center, go right to the top, the dot is on the ceiling. That's where I need to anchor it to get that light placement exactly where I want it. That's one of the benefits to it. No more going up with string lines, dropping plim bobs and waiting for the dang thing to stop to get our top and bottom points. This does it for us. Another thing the Johnson cannot do. There are unbelievable differences, let alone cost. Again, Johnson, $400. Huepar, $130. I will put links down below on all these. You guys want one? You can get one. You decide which one's best for you. But I originally was going to keep the Johnson and ditch the Huepar. Unfortunately, I think I'm going to return the Johnson and keep the Huepar. I don't know if that came out right or not. With that said, go ahead, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button if you found value out of this thing. God bless you all, and we shall see you real soon. Bye now.